The premise of this movie was pretty much that an old man named Arthur Spiderwick had discovered some things that were interesting. There were creatures in his backyard that often attacked him, so he created this little circle of mushrooms around his house to keep them out. But one day, he went outside of those mushrooms to save his daughter and was taken up by some sort of whirlwind and gone to this heaven-like place where time has no meaning. After that, the little boy and his family come to his house, which is completely destroyed. It has salt on the windows and stuff, and they find the journal that he hid in his attic. Now, after they find that journal, they discover that there's some creatures in the forest. Duh. Then they fight the creatures. And they fight the creatures. And they keep fighting the creatures until about the end of the movie, about 15 minutes away from the end. They find that Arthur Spiderwick hasn't grown any older over the past, I think, 60 years. And they somehow get to him by summoning some sort of creature from Harry Potter that takes them up, takes them to his haven. Okay, by the end, they of course have to take up arms against the creatures, which they've already done several thousand times. And they set up explosions and traps inside their own home that nobody would ever attempt if they ever wanted to have any resale value. They hold off these beasts, and eventually the movie ends with the main bad guy being eaten by you did not guess it, a pig. Yes, a pig. He is eaten by a pig. The acting in this movie was so unconvincing and so bad that I was sitting through it, and by the end, I was hoping they would just shut up and stop talking. One of the big mistakes they made was that they used the same actor for two characters. And interestingly enough, the two characters, he looked exactly like, sounded exactly alike, but one of them was a pacifist. And that doesn't really fit with the movie anyway. The movie was pretty much a short film about monsters that attacked a house. Simple enough. It was like a children's action movie. I've never seen anything so boring and so lame and so... I was hoping that they would go a little further beyond just slashing little monsters with swords and melting them with tomato juice. In short, this was a bad movie. It had no point. It had no life. It was just a parade of special effects. There was no story, at least one that I could find. Now, again, I've never read the books, so those of you who have read the books and actually understood what was going on, congratulations. But this was, just as a person who has never read the books, and going in to have a good time at the movies, this is not the movie for you. This movie is not even a family movie. It's boring, it's annoying, it's continuous, it doesn't end, it doesn't stop. Now, all the actors in this were the worst actors I've ever seen on film. Even the little boy was the worst actor, and he played two parts. And then there was his sister, the two boys' sister from the one actor. She was the worst actress I've ever seen on a film like this. Every bit of her dialogue was monotone, useless, and didn't range much farther than, "Oh my gosh, they killed him," and "Oh my gosh, they're coming to kill me." Oh, and as well as, "Ah!" There was no life to this. There was no life to her. She was the worst actress. And then the mother was horrible. She had probably the hardest part to play, and she executed worse than one of those little frog things could. It just seems like it's a big excuse for it. So, the Spiderwick Chronicles was one of the most annoying movies ever. How many more Chronicles can there possibly be? There isn't a better pick than any other movie besides the Spiderwick Chronicles. Quite honestly, any movie on Earth is certainly better than this. This was just garbage. It was garbage. It was hopeless. The whole thing was just a waste of time. It was the most overfunded film ever. It probably took the computer animators more time to create these monsters than it did the actors who are telling the story to read their lines. At the end, there was this whole little backstory behind it that was so bad, it was annoying. The little boy wanted to see his dad, who had apparently moved in with someone else during the movie. Now, by the end, his dad, of course, came back. But the first thing the kid does is stab his dad in the stomach. And then the dad turns into this creature that starts destroying the house and chases him onto the roof before falling off, turning into a bird, and getting eaten by a pig thing. It was the dumbest ending to the dumbest movie ever. Don't ever see this movie. It was so bad, I'd rather eat a deck chair. I'd rather eat my socks than see this movie again.